My name is Emily Carter, and this is the story of the day my mother pushed me too far and learned what happens when the family's quiet helper finally walks away. It started with a plate of scrambled eggs and a sentence that changed everything. I was sitting at the breakfast table, sipping my coffee, half listening to my mom talk about my sister's upcoming birthday party. It was supposed to be a small gathering, at least that's what she'd said a week ago. But that morning, her tone was different. Commanding. Final. Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the latest stories. She looked right at me and said, "For your sister's birthday, 75 guests are coming. They'll stay here for a whole month. You'll serve them, or you can leave." At first, I thought she was joking. I even laughed a little. But when I looked up, her expression was dead serious. "Mom," I said, setting down my cup, 75? For a whole month? How am I supposed to serve that many people? She shrugged, unfazed. "You're home anyway. You don't have a job right now, and your sister deserves a big celebration. Family helps family." Stund. "You mean I help family? You never ask anyone else." She gave me that dismissive look I'd known my whole life, the one that said don't argue, just obey. My older sister, Samantha, sat across the table, smirking as she scrolled on her phone. "It's not a big deal, Em. You're good at organizing stuff. You'll make it nice." She said it like she was doing me a favor, like being her unpaid maid for a month was an opportunity. I wanted to scream. For years, I had been the one cleaning up after everyone, running errands, cooking, helping, staying quiet. I moved back home after losing my apartment when my company downsized. It was supposed to be temporary, just until I got back on my feet. But my mom saw it differently. In her mind, I was back to serve. Still, this? 75 guests for an entire month? That wasn't just unfair, it was insane. I tried reasoning with her one last time. "Mom, I can help with the party, sure. But a whole month? That's too much." Her reply was sharp, cold, and final. "Then leave. No one's forcing you to stay." The room went silent. Even Samantha stopped scrolling. Mom crossed her arms and added, "You've been living here rent-free. It's time you give something back." Something inside me just snapped. For 28 years, I'd swallowed her words, done what she asked, and accepted the blame whenever things went wrong. I'd cleaned up after Samantha's messes, covered her mistakes, stayed up all night helping Mom prepare for parties, even when no one said thank you. But this time, I felt a strange calm wash over me. I looked her in the eye, finished my last bite of toast, and said softly, "All right then." Mom frowned. "All right what?" "All right," I said, standing up. "I'll leave." Before she could say another word, I walked to my room, packed my suitcase, and within 20 minutes, I was out the door.
No yelling. No tears.
Just silence. As I dragged my suitcase down the driveway, Samantha called after me, half laughing. "You're being dramatic, Em. Mom didn't mean it like that." But Mom didn't stop me. Not once. She just stood in the doorway, arms crossed, lips pressed tight, the same look she'd given me my whole life whenever I disappointed her. I got in my car and drove off, my heart pounding but my hands steady. I didn't have a plan. I just knew I couldn't take it anymore. For the first time, I wasn't the helper. I wasn't the peacemaker. I wasn't the daughter who stayed quiet. I was free. I checked into a small motel outside town that night. It wasn't fancy, but it was peaceful. I bought takeout, turned my phone off, and for the first time in years, I ate dinner without being interrupted by someone asking me to do something. It felt incredible. But my peace didn't last long. The next morning, when I finally turned my phone back on, it buzzed nonstop. 17 missed calls, 24 messages.
Mom.
Samantha. Even my aunt. The first voicemail was from Mom, her voice trembling. "Emily, where are you? You need to come back. The guests are already here and nothing's ready. I can't handle this alone." I played the next one. She sounded panicked, almost crying. "Please answer the phone. Everyone's asking about you. The food's not done, the beds aren't set, and Samantha doesn't know what she's doing." I leaned back on the motel bed, and smiled for the first time in years. All those times I'd been told I was lazy or ungrateful, and now, one day without me, the house had fallen apart. I didn't say a word. I didn't text. I didn't call. For once, silence was my revenge. And, oh, it was sweet. I didn't reply to any of Mom's messages that morning. I just scrolled through them with a quiet satisfaction that's hard to describe. It wasn't about revenge yet. It was about peace. For once, they were the ones scrambling, not me. When I checked the time, it was just past noon. By now, I imagined the house full of noise, guests arriving, suitcases everywhere, and Mom barking orders left and right. I could almost picture Samantha rolling her eyes and pretending to help while sneaking off to take selfies with the decorations. It was all so predictable. I opened my messages again. There were a few from Mom, and then one from my Aunt Karen, who wrote, "Emily, your mom is really struggling. The guests are upset. Nothing's ready. Please come help before she collapses." That last part almost made me laugh. My mom wasn't collapsing. She was finally realizing how much I did for her. Still, part of me felt that familiar tug, that little voice saying you should go back, be the bigger person. But I ignored it. I'd spent years being the bigger person. Now it was their turn to grow up. Instead, I went for a walk downtown. The weather was perfect. Warm sunshine, light breeze, and the smell of coffee from a nearby cafe. I sat outside with my latte, watching people go by, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Freedom. No one calling my name every 5 minutes. No one complaining that I didn't do enough. No guilt hanging over my head. Just me. By evening, my phone buzzed again, this time, a text from Samantha. "Sam, you made your point. Come back now." Mom's freaking out. Me. "I'm not coming back." "Sam, stop being dramatic, Emily. It's Mom's house." Me. "Exactly. And she told me to leave. So I did." She didn't reply after that. I thought that would be the end of it, that they'd manage somehow, and I could finally move on. But I underestimated how quickly chaos can spread in that house. The next day, another flood of messages came in, this time with photos. The kitchen was a disaster. Dishes piled up, trays of half-baked food everywhere. Guests were sitting around awkwardly, waiting for breakfast that never came. The grand birthday decorations were falling apart because Samantha had forgotten to order enough supplies. Even worse, Mom's credit card had maxed out from last-minute catering costs she couldn't handle alone. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just an inconvenience for them. It was a disaster. And all I had to do was nothing. But I wasn't cruel. I wasn't trying to ruin anyone's birthday. I just wanted them to understand, to feel what I'd been feeling for years. Invisible. Unappreciated. Taken for granted. So, I sent Mom one text. Just one. "I hope everything's going okay. I'll be staying with a friend for a while. Take care."
No anger. No sarcasm.
Just distance. Her reply came 3 minutes later. "Emily, please."
I'm sorry.
I shouldn't have said that. I didn't mean it. Please come back, at least for the party. I stared at the message for a long time. My mom never apologized, not once in my entire life. But I wasn't ready to forgive her that easily. I turned off my phone again and went to sleep. The next few days were surprisingly peaceful. I found a small part-time job at a bookstore and started looking for an apartment. The owner, Linda, was kind, and after hearing my story, she offered me a few extra shifts. "You did the right thing, honey," she told me one afternoon as we restocked shelves. "Family or not, no one gets to treat you like a servant." Her words stayed with me, because deep down I'd always believed that walking away from your family was wrong, that no matter what you had to stay. But now I was learning that staying in a toxic situation wasn't loyalty, it was self-destruction. Meanwhile, back at home, things were falling apart faster than I imagined. Through a cousin's Facebook post, I found out that Mom's grand month-long celebration had turned into a complete circus. The caterer quit after 2 days because Mom kept changing her demands. Guests started leaving early, complaining about poor organization and lack of food. And my sister? Oh, Samantha was furious because everyone was blaming her. Apparently, Mom had told everyone that Samantha was in charge while I was taking a break. But Samantha didn't know the first thing about handling guests or planning events. The guests saw right through her. I could almost hear the panic through the photos, tired faces, messy tables, and Samantha trying to smile while her friends whispered behind her back. It was karma in motion. But here's the thing about karma. It doesn't always stop where you expect it to. By the end of the week, Mom called me again, and this time, her voice wasn't angry or proud. It was broken. "Emily," she said softly, "I know I've been unfair. I took you for granted. I thought you'd always be here to fix things. But I was wrong." For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But then she added, "Please just come back and help finish the month. After that, you can do whatever you want." That word, help, hit me like a slap. Not come home, not we miss you, not I love you. Just help. And that's when I decided, if she wanted to treat me like the help, I was going to show her exactly what happens when the help stops helping for good. When Mom said, "Just come back and help finish the month," something inside me hardened. It wasn't just about her words anymore, it was about all the years behind them. Every birthday, every family event, every gathering, it was me who made them happen. And somehow I was never the guest, always the worker. So when she said help, I realized nothing had changed. She didn't see me as her daughter. She saw me as her backup plan. I sat in my small motel room staring at my phone for a long while, then finally put it down. I wasn't going back.
Not this time.
A few days passed. Then, out of nowhere, I got a text from Samantha. "You think you're proving a point? You're just making Mom look bad." I almost laughed. The irony. Mom had humiliated me in front of 75 people without blinking, and now I was making her look bad? I didn't reply. I didn't need to. That weekend, I met up with my old friend Megan, who I hadn't seen in ages. We used to work together before I lost my job. She listened quietly as I told her everything. When I finished, she shook her head. That's not family. That's free labor with emotional guilt on top." I smiled sadly. "It's been like that for as long as I can remember." She leaned in. "You ever think about showing them what life without you really looks like?" That sentence stuck with me all night. Because truthfully, they were already feeling it, but not enough to change. Mom was still trying to pull me back just to fix her mess. So I decided if she wanted to play that game, I'd play smarter. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I got strategic. The next day, I called Aunt Karen, the only relative who sometimes tried to be fair. She picked up, clearly stressed. "Oh, Emily. Thank God you called. Things at your mom's house are insane. People are talking about leaving early. Your sister's losing it." I took a breath. "I'm sorry to hear that, Aunt Karen. I really am. But Mom told me to leave. I just listened." She sighed. "I know, sweetheart.
She didn't mean it that way."
"Maybe not," I said calmly, "but words matter. She needs to understand that." There was silence on the line, the kind of silence when someone realizes they can't argue with the truth. Then Aunt Karen said softly, "You're right. She's learning it the hard way."
Exactly.
Later that day, curiosity got the better of me. I checked my social media, something I hadn't done in weeks. And what I saw almost made me feel sorry for them, almost. Samantha had posted photos from the grand birthday event, but it was chaos disguised as celebration. The decorations looked rushed, the food half-cooked, and guests commented things like, "Hope you're holding up okay," and "Looks exhausting." One even wrote, "Wish Emily was there. She always made everything perfect." That comment hit like a perfect little arrow of justice. For the first time, people were noticing who really held the family together, and it wasn't Samantha or Mom. Still, I wasn't heartless. I decided to check in one last time. I texted Mom. "How's everything going?" She replied instantly. "Terrible. Everyone's leaving early. Nothing's going right." "I'm so sorry, Emily. Please come back. I'll make it right. I promise." There it was, an actual apology. The kind I'd wanted my entire life. But the funny thing about apologies that come from desperation? They don't fix what's already broken. I stared at her message for a while, then typed, "I'll think about it." And I did think about it. All night. A part of me missed home. Not the house itself, but the idea of it. The smell of coffee in the morning, the way the porch light stayed on late, the laughter during holidays before everything turned bitter. But that home didn't exist anymore. It was replaced by a place where my worth was measured in chores. Still, a thought lingered. Maybe I could visit, not to stay, but to show them what they'd lost. So the next day, I drove back. When I arrived, the house looked like a war zone. Trash bags near the porch, half-wilted balloons still hanging, and inside, chaos. Mom was in the kitchen, her hair messy, dark circles under her eyes. Samantha was pacing, arguing with a cousin on the phone. When Mom saw me, she froze. "Emily, you came back." "Just to pick up a few things," I said coolly. She looked like she wanted to hug me but hesitated.
Please, Eminencia.
"I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry for what I said. You don't have to serve anyone. Just stay." Her voice cracked. For the first time, it didn't sound like control. It sounded like regret. I walked around, seeing the mess, the exhaustion in her eyes, the embarrassment on Samantha's face. Then Mom whispered, "I didn't realize how much you did. Until you were gone." That was the moment I'd been waiting for. Not revenge through anger, revenge through realization. "I know, Mom," I said quietly. "And I didn't leave to hurt you. I left because I had to stop hurting myself." She looked down, tears falling. "Can we start over?" For a second, I wanted to say yes. But then I remembered the years of being overlooked, the exhaustion, the loneliness. So I said, "Maybe someday, but not today." I grabbed my bag, turned around, and walked out. When I got in my car, my phone buzzed, a text from Samantha. "You made your point. Happy now?" I smiled. Not happy. Just free. Driving away from that house for the second time felt different. The first time, I'd left angry and hurt. This time, I left powerful, calm, steady, and free. But karma wasn't done working yet. A few days later, I got a call from my Aunt Karen again. She sounded almost amused. "Emily, you won't believe what happened." I laughed softly. "Oh, what now?" "Your mom's big party?" She had to cancel the rest of it. Half the guests left early, the others refused to stay another week. Word got around that it was a disaster. She's embarrassed to even go outside right now. I was quiet for a moment, then asked, "Is she okay?" "She's fine," Aunt Karen said. "But I think she finally got the message. Everyone's been talking about how she overworked you all these years. Even your cousins are saying she treated you unfairly." That stopped me cold. All my life, my mom's word was gospel. Nobody ever questioned her. She was the strong one, the respected one, the woman who held the family together. Now everyone was finally seeing what really held it together, me. And the best part? I didn't lift a single finger to make it happen. That night, I got another text from Mom. "Emily, I've been thinking about everything.
I'm so sorry.
I don't expect you to come back, but I want to talk. Please." It was tempting to ignore it again, but something in me wanted closure. Not revenge anymore, just peace. So, I agreed to meet her the next day at a small diner halfway between town and where I was staying. When I arrived, she was already there, sitting in a booth with a cup of coffee she hadn't touched. She looked smaller somehow, not physically, but in presence. The woman who once commanded every room now seemed unsure of her own voice. "Hi, Mom," I said, sliding into the booth. She looked up, eyes glistening. For a moment, neither of us said anything. The silence was heavy, filled with years of unsaid words. Finally, she spoke. "I know I hurt you. I was controlling. I thought if I kept everything organized, the family would respect me. But I took that out on you." I nodded slowly, not interrupting. She continued, "When you left, I realized how much I depended on you. Not just for help, for everything. You made this family run, Emily. I never told you that because I thought it would make me look weak." That hit harder than I expected. Hearing her admit weakness, that was something I'd never imagined. I leaned back and said quietly, I didn't leave to punish you, Mom. I left because I was starting to lose myself here. Every time you dismissed me, every time you made me feel like I owed you something, a little part of me disappeared. Her lips trembled. I know. And I hate that I made you feel that way. The waitress came by to refill our coffees, breaking the tension for a moment. Then Mom said something I'll never forget. I told everyone you were ungrateful when you left.
But now,
I realize I was the ungrateful one. I felt my throat tighten. She looked down at her cup and whispered, when I saw those guests walk out, when I couldn't even keep up with the simplest things, I finally understood what I'd done. I took your kindness for granted. I made you feel small because that's how my own mother made me feel. And I swore I'd never be like her. That last line hit me hard. Because for the first time, she wasn't offensive, she was human. We sat there for a long time, both quiet, both processing years of tension finally unraveling. Eventually, I said, I'm not ready to come back, Mom. I'm still figuring things out. She nodded. You don't have to. I just want you to know you're always welcome. This time as my daughter, not my helper. For the first time in a long time, I believed her. We talked a little longer about small things, memories, little moments that didn't hurt to revisit. It felt almost normal. As I stood to leave, Mom said softly, You really did grow into your own, Emily. I just wish I'd seen it sooner. I smiled. Better late than never. Driving back to my motel that night, I felt lighter. Not because everything was fixed, but because I had closure. That was my real revenge. Not seeing her suffer, not making her beg, but finally having her see me. She'd spent her life commanding people, expecting control, demanding obedience. And when I took that control away by simply walking out, it broke her pride in a way yelling never could. That was the power of quiet revenge. A few days later, Samantha texted again. Mom says you guys talked. She's been calmer since then. I still think you overreacted, but maybe you did what needed to be done. It wasn't an apology, but it was progress. And then came something I didn't expect. A job offer. Megan, my friend from before, had recommended me for an event coordinator position at her cousin's company. The irony wasn't lost on me. After years of being forced to manage family chaos, I was finally getting paid to do it professionally. Life has a funny way of rewarding you when you stop settling for less. When I signed the job offer, I sent Mom one last message. Starting a new job next week. Thank you for understanding. I hope things get better at home. She replied almost instantly. I'm proud of you, Emily. I stared at those 4 words for a long time. Simple. Unexpected.
sincere.
For once, that was enough. It's funny how peace doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it's quiet, like the calm hum of a new morning when your world finally feels like your own. 3 months after that diner meeting, my life looked nothing like it used to. I'd moved into a cozy 1-bedroom apartment near the bookstore, started my new job as an event coordinator, and for the first time, I was waking up for me, not for someone else's expectations.
No shouting. No guilt trips.
No one telling me to serve or leave. Just silence and my own choices. The job came naturally. All those years of running family gatherings, planning meals, handling people, it turned out to be the perfect training. I was good at it. Clients loved my work. And every time someone complimented my attention to detail or my calmness under pressure, I smiled quietly. They had no idea I'd learned it in the hardest way possible from surviving my own family. One afternoon, as I was setting up for a corporate event, my phone buzzed with a photo message. It was Mom, standing in front of a modest cake with Samantha and a few close relatives. The caption read, "Small family dinner. No big parties this time. Just us." For a second, I froze. It was so simple, no chaos, no crowd, no stress. Just peace. And for the first time, I realized she'd actually changed. A few weeks later, Mom came to visit me for coffee. It felt strange at first, seeing her in my space. No judgmental looks, no comments about how I lived. Just curiosity. She walked around my small apartment smiling. "You've made it so cozy here. It feels like home." I smiled back. It is home. She sat on the couch, fidgeting with her ring. You know, Emily, I think I used to confuse control with love. I thought if I made everyone do things my way, it meant we were close. But I see now. I pushed you away. Her voice cracked slightly, and I felt something inside me soften, not because I forgot what she'd done, but because I could finally see the woman behind the walls she built. I appreciate you saying that, Mom, I said gently. I really do. She nodded, eyes glistening. I just want to say thank you for leaving when you did. It hurt, but it made me face myself. That moment, hearing those words, was worth everything. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't cinematic. It was just real. She stayed for dinner that night. I cooked something simple, pasta, salad, garlic bread, and we talked like two adults, not mother and servant. When she left, she hugged me tighter than she ever had before. And as the door closed behind her, I realized my revenge had come full circle. It wasn't about punishment. It was about transformation. The day I walked away, I wasn't trying to make her suffer. I was teaching her the lesson I'd been forced to learn my whole life. If you don't value people while they're around, one day they'll walk out, and the silence they leave behind will teach you what their presence was really worth. A few months later, things continued to get better. Samantha got a job too, and according to Mom, she'd been much nicer lately. Maybe seeing Mom change softened her too. We weren't suddenly a perfect family, but there was peace, fragile, but real. Sometimes, I still think back to that breakfast table, the eggs getting cold, my mom's sharp voice, her words echoing in my head. Serve them or leave. And I smile, because those same words that were meant to break me ended up setting me free. Now, when I plan events at work, I often remind my clients to appreciate the people behind the scenes, the ones who make things happen quietly. I know better than anyone how it feels to give everything and still be unseen. One day after an event, a client told me, "You're incredible, Emily. You make everything look so easy." I smiled, remembering that chaotic house and my mom's panic that day I walked out. "Thank you," I said softly. It took me a while to learn that making things look easy doesn't mean they are. That night, as I sat on my balcony watching the city lights, I finally let out a deep breath I didn't realize I'd been holding for years. I didn't need to prove anything anymore. Not to Mom. Not to Samantha. Not to anyone. Because my revenge wasn't in watching them fail. It was in watching myself rise. Walking away was the hardest decision I ever made, but it was also the best one. Sometimes the loudest revenge isn't shouting or applauding. It's walking out quietly and letting your absence scream louder than words ever could. And, trust me, they heard it.